guys, welcome to the Firearm Patriot channel. I'm Russ, and today I'm taking a look at the Springfield Armory Hellcat. Now, of all the companies that I thought would come and challenge Sig Sauer's P365, Springfield Armory was really the last one that popped into my mind. But yet, here they are with a very serious challenger to that pistol. Now, not only does it challenge the 365, but I think it also challenges the XL, because this particular version here is optic ready. You can get them optic ready or not optic ready. Price is going to run you about $500 for the non-optic ready model and around $550 for the optic ready, which I think you ought to go ahead and get the optic ready. Even if you're not going to use one, I think it's going to make it a more valuable pistol. And if you want to resell it at some point in time, I think people will be looking for the OSP model rather than the non-optic model. So what we're going to do, we're going to shoot this thing a few more times. I'm going to go over to the bench. We're going to talk about the features and give you my thoughts on this pistol. So let's get to it. Okay guys, now I'm going to shoot the Hellcat 21 feet from that paper target I've got set up down there, along with the P365 with the XL grip module on it, just to kind of see how the accuracy compares to the two of them with offhand shooting. Now keep in mind the XL P365 is my carry gun, and I've got over 3,000 rounds through it, so probably going to be better with that gun just based on that. But let's go ahead and take a look and find out. Maybe I won't be. Alright, shooting the Hellcat first. Going to shoot for the center of the target. Okay, now we're going to shoot the P365. I'm going to be shooting for the head. Go ahead and zoom in on that so you can see that. Okay, so that is the P365, and so that's the group with the Hellcat. Okay guys, now I'm going to go ahead and put a few rounds way down range, not real far, but we're going to be shooting at a target 25 yards down range with a Hellcat. I'm going to put 10 rounds down range. Hopefully I'll put most of those on the target, and then I'm going to shoot the P365 with that XL grip module on it 10 times as well, kind of do a little comparison to see which one is going to be more accurate than the other. So let's go ahead and get started with Hellcat. Okay, got 5 out of 10 on the target down there. Again, we are dealing with small compact pistols, but we're going to go ahead and do the 365 now. And I'm also shooting the Hellcat with the longer extended magazine, that 13 round magazine, so it's about the exact same size as the P365 XL grip module here. Okay guys, let's go ahead and take a little bit closer look at the Hellcat. We'll go ahead and make sure it's clear. It is. You know, Springfield was the last company I thought that would come forward and take on Sig Sauer's P365. But they have done it, and I think they've done a very good job with this pistol. And this pistol is made in Croatia. You know, it's very similar to the XTS in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways it isn't. You know, for example, they've eliminated the grip safety, which in my opinion is a good thing. I don't really see the need for that or the purpose of that. Some people don't mind them. It is a passive safety, but they've done away with it on the Hellcat, so I'm happy they did that. Now, the claim to fame on this particular gun is it outdid the P365 on capacity. You know, the P365 standard magazine's 10. Well, the Hellcat's is 11. Very good magazines, stainless steel magazines with witness hose for each round. You don't see that on the P365. You also have a polymer follower, polymer base plate. On the extended magazine, you get 13 rather than 12 rounds. Again, you have holes there for each round, polymer base plate, polymer follower, and the guns. The gun has worked very well with these magazines. It's locked back to slide every time. There's been no failures to feed or failures to eject. I've got 500 rounds to it now, which I know is not a lot of rounds, but you know, this is a quality firearm. You can tell by looking at it. I've owned XDSs before. I used to carry a XDS 45. Never had a problem with the gun, and it looks to be of the same quality as that pistol. Now, I think they've done a really good job here on the grips. The stippling's very, you know, good. It's rough, not as rough as like a M&P 2.0 or a Beretta APX, but you can get a good grip on it. There's some finger grooves here that are kind of wide, so I think they're going to fit most people's fingers. You're looking at an inch thick grip, so this is a very small, slim gun, but I think most people with a little bit larger hands are going to gravitate toward this pistol, maybe over the P365. I personally like the P365's grip better, but my hands are medium. If you have larger hands, I think you're going to go toward the Hellcat. Now, they've also extended the back down here. You can see how that's cut out right here. They did that, and that was smart, because the P365, it's not like that, and they have a shorter grip that comes down. So what happens on this, it easily ejects out. No problems with that. Either magazine. On the P365, what I saw in a competition is that it gets caught in your hand. It's too short, it gets caught in your hand, and that's one of the reasons I run the XL grip module on my P365. It takes care of that issue for me. Plus, it's got a beveled mag well. Now, this doesn't have, well, I take that back. It does have a little beveled mag well in there. You can see that on the sides here. So, in fact, I really didn't even notice that until just now. So that's a little bit better because the standard P365 does not have a beveled mag well on that. Also, you're looking at a very good mag release here. You've got some serrations up front, but you know, it's bumped out here in the rear, and that's so you don't inadvertently drop a magazine. And I've had no issues with carrying this gun. I've had it for quite a while. Like I said, I got 500 rounds to this gun, 0 malfunctions of any kind. It's run great with factory ammo. I've not tried any reloads through it, and also my self-defense ammo, which is Federal 147 HST. Now, another good thing that Springfield did that Sig did not do was they put a standard small Picatinny rail up here in front, so you're going to be able to get like an Olight PL Mini 2 on there. You're also, if you want to train dry fire, a Manus X device is going to fit up there without any kind of issue, so you can do dry fire training. So very impressed with them doing that and not doing some proprietary thing like Sig did. Also, you have a polymer trigger here. It's a 2-piece trigger. You got a safety blade in front, and we'll talk a little bit about the trigger and here in a minute. Just want to go back to the slide stop. Now, the slide stop is also serrated. It's kind of in the rear of the gun. The P365's up here, and it falls a little bit better for my thumb than the Hellcat does. So I think that's maybe a little bit further back than I'd want it to be, but you can still activate it, no problems. If you want to release the slide on it, not an issue for me. It's just I'd rather have it a little bit further. You've got a 3-inch barrel, which is really a good barrel. I mean, it's a hammered forged steel barrel that's melanited. It's a 1 in 10 right-hand twist, if anybody wants to know that information. But a very high quality, very well made, very, very thick barrel. I don't think there's going to be any issue with that. The slide is also billeted, machined, and it's melanite coated as well. One thing here is the serrations. We'll go ahead and talk a little bit about that. The serrations are a little bit shallow in my opinion. On the XDS, I have an XDS 9 with me today. They're a lot deeper. It's a lot easier to get a grip on them. Some people may not notice that. It's just something I noticed, but I'm going to put an optic on top of it, so it's really not going to be that big of an issue for me once I mount that Romeo Zero, and we will have some videos on that as well and comparing it to the 407K from Hollison. I like the fact that you can have an optic ready version on this gun. I like the shorter barrels myself, so I like to have an optic ready on the P365 and not necessarily have to go to the XL, but that's not an option. Here it is an option, and once you get that sight on there, really barrel length is not relevant only to velocity, and I don't know that you gain a whole lot more for a 1/2 inch like you do when you purchase the XL. But right now I'm carrying the XL with a 407K on it from Hollison, so that's my carry gun right at this moment. But so the red dot on top is going to take care of any slide serration issues because you're probably going to use that red dot. You do have co-witness capabilities with the two rear sight and the front sight with the red dot. Since it's milled in, you just take that plate off and should mount directly on there. The sighting system on here, you've got this U-notch in the back. It's straight up, so it's a combat sight. Around the sight, you have it's a luminescent kind of a yellow greenish ring, and also in the center you have tritium in there for night sights. The only thing I don't like about that is there's no night sights in the back, so if you are in a dark setting, there's no reference points back here and you may not be able to see your sights in that scenario. Of course, if you've got a light on your gun or if it's illuminated at all, you should be okay with that. But I don't anticipate, most people are not going to have a light on these guns. I mean, some will, but most people won't. So, overall, it's a very good gun. So let's talk about one of the major drawbacks. I told you the side serrations, that's a drawback for me. I wish they were a little bit deeper. I think Springfield went more for aesthetics than function on those. But let's talk a little bit about the trigger, okay? The trigger has take up in it, you hit your wall, and it's a hard trigger. Reset, not that long. Reset's pretty good. But you're looking at around 6 pounds. I've worked with this trigger. I've got it broken in. Sometimes it'll go to 5.5, but probably overall you're looking on most of them at least a 6-pound trigger, which is a little bit heavy. It's a little bit longer pull than on the P365. Also, the P365 has a metal trigger where this is polymer and there's a different feel to it. I do prefer the trigger on the P365. If you shoot XDSs and XDs, you may prefer this trigger over the P365. I personally prefer a metal trigger. You do have a little bit of room up here in your trigger guard, not as much as the P365, but there's not really that much difference in them. I am going to put an aftermarket trigger in here, so stay tuned for that. I do have a Apex Tactical trigger kit, and that's going to come. It comes with a striker spring and also a sear spring and a new trigger very similar to what their Glock triggers look like. But overall, I think the gun has performed well. Again, I have had 0 malfunctions with it. It's just a very slim gun. It's 1 inch thick. Length of the gun's right at 6 inches. With the shorter magazine, you're looking at a height of 4 inches. And price point, for the OSP version at about $550, I think that's good. That's where you can get these at. The non-OSP model, again, around $500. But I think that they've done a very good job. And the day sights, in my opinion, on the Hellcat are also better. you get a little darked out sight. Now some people will like that, but I think their front sight on the Hellcat is much brighter, much easier to see than the Springfield, than the Sig P365. Now I like both of them. I don't have a problem with them, either one. If you don't like the sights, of course you can always change those out. But overall, I think the P365 is a very solid performer. You've seen the accuracy. I did have a little problem shooting it over the P365, but at close range, where these guns are meant to be, neither one of them are going to be really an issue. But stay tuned for the Apex trigger replacement and also the Romeo Zero edition on top of the slide. So with that being said, this is the Firearm Patriot. Till next time, God bless America.